said anything in the chat. Right, hello everybody, and welcome back to URC testing. And we're now here with the second session of the evening. This one's a little bit quieter. As you can see, we've got quite a lot of AI cars in this one. We've only got 7 leagues in session 2. As I mentioned earlier, very briefly, a couple of teams have pulled out from the second session. So this one's a little bit quieter, but we've got some reasonably big names in this session, and obviously James is still with me, and hopefully this is going to be another good session.
It should indeed, it should be. There's plenty, as you say, of really top quality drivers in this tier. Plenty of, if you want to roll down the list of ILR Tier 1 drivers who are maybe the best in on this console. So in many ways, that's what we'll be looking at. Like sort of Lotche Surprise, more so RT Hamilton, Reynolds. We can't discount Rosberg either, but then you can't discount all the other drivers in this tier, the likes of Ash, who is a quick driver, Shaw, who's proved his pace at times, and of course we the RFL boys as well. Verstappen is another which may catch the eye as we go through this 30-minute session. Be interesting to see who comes out on top in this one. We know that, of course, War and LCR seemingly look safe for one of their teams, so let's see how the other team gets on.
Yeah, what I'm going to do now is I'm quickly going to find the times from the previous session, so we just kind of know what we're aiming at. It was 16.8s, wasn't it, that the War and LCR guys did at the top, and around 17. I think if you're in the 17.1s or noughts, then you're going to be knocking on the door of Tier 1. So those are the kind of times they're going to be aiming for now. And to a certain extent, I think that even though it's been a random draw, there is a bit of an advantage to being in session 2 and 3, because you kind of know what times you're aiming at, but you've still got to deliver, which is obviously pretty tricky.
Yeah, that is the benchmark. We may as well take the guys through the teams who we have in this session. So RFL Team 1 with Danny F31 and the Flying, who's that? Flying Rosie. I believe it should be. It isn't, but it should be. War and LCRB, they are with the drivers of LRT Hamilton and WRO Morso. They are in the Ferrari. And let's look to Livid Silver, who are Hammer Hunlike and Glitcher. They are in the, what are we looking at? They are in the Red Bull. My apologies, I think I may have messed that up. They are in the Red Bull. Sorry, RFL are in the Mercedes. They are in the Red Bull. Hamo, Enrique, and Glitcher. Our gold with Veloce Surprise. He is the only man from. I'm sorry, and EVR Reynolds. They are the ILR boys for this one. Let's get it right, James. So Veloce Surprise and EVR Reynolds in the Renault. They're for ILR. RFL Team 2 with the Bacon Yum and Anti Beacon. They are in the McLaren this time, which wasn't present last time out. TSRL Whites with WRO Ash and Shaw, the first little TSRL boys. They've been in URC in the past, and they will be driving the Sauber car. Good drive for those two as well. VSR Black, the final team of the session, with Cyril Rosberg and VSR Verstappen. They are both in the Williams.
Few minutes in now. No one's done anything yet. What I will do is I need to get I had the tyres up for the previous session. Yeah, people doing what they did in the last session, going on the softs first, then moving on to the super softs later. I think that's probably the way to go. I definitely think for me that would be how I would do it, but I doubt I would be able to get the kind of times that these guys are going to be doing.
I mean, I would have to follow this with it. Yeah, that's exactly what I would have said as well. Not for you, but for me, I definitely would be anywhere near any of these guys, in all fairness. Reynolds has got them close to the fastest so far, 80.3. That's quickly beaten by
that's a very good time. That's a fantastic time.
Goodness me.
Softs?
That's scarcely believable. Let me check the race director.
Yeah, because obviously we had this problem with the Williams in the last session. That's blimey. Well, he's put the marker down with that one, hasn't he? That's a fantastic first lap.
Brilliant stuff for Verstappen Black. You'll be loving life. RT Hamilton moves into P2. That's not a bad lap either from Hamilton for the WOR, my apologies, and LCR team in the Ferrari. That's a 17.9. It's not bad, in all truth. I mean, for a first lap, that's a stonking effort from Verstappen. Brilliant stuff.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that time in itself isn't going to be enough, but he's only got to find like 3/10, and he's on the kind of pace that he needs to be in Tier 1, and he's got 25 minutes to find 3/10. So should easily be able to do that. So that's fantastic for him. I'd be really happy with that.
I think they would be. I think they'd be very, very happy with that. Veloce Surprise is on track in the Renault for ILR. Goes very wide out of turn 9. If he got that wrong, that would have been an interesting one, to say the least. Comes through now, following through turn 10 in the Renault. Turn 11, the slight kick. The pad that is horrible with no traction. I only know through experience. Here we go as we end towards the end of the lap, and Veloce Surprise may be favourite to win in terms of driving as he hits the curb massively on the inside through there and backs out of that. Very scruffy lap indeed for Veloce Surprise by his standards, the Welshman. Seeing what he can do, the ILR champ of season 2, and really has.
Danny F. Yeah, that's looking good for those guys there in the WRR War and LCR team. That's looking fantastic for those guys. We know that their Team A is going to be in Tier 1 after their stonking effort in the first session. Now they're first and second in this second and third, sorry, in this one. Very good effort. I said about Danny there, he's gone 5th, which is good. Obviously his teammate at the top. So he's backing up nicely with a solid 5th place. Looking good for those two teams.
And RFL look like a team which really they've been very much hyping. They're very much hyped, let's say, for URC. They are very much looking forward to it. They were desperate to be a part of ULC not too long ago, so to be a part of URC is the next is the best thing for them. You can't get much better than what we have now, so they'll be looking for some strong results, whether that be in Tier 1, whether that be in Tier 2, but let's see, it's interesting for the RFL tier and the RFL team. It will be good news to them. Mercedes is currently 5th overall in the time sheet. He's ahead of some very fast guys as well, to be fair, with EVR Reynolds. So the Bacon Young's good on more lap pace as well, but we believe uses line. He can use no line, the Bacon Young, but he is one that does tend, I believe, to use line.
Yeah, and obviously racing line is something that is on in this. You can use it in the test, but if you're competing in Tier 1 this season, you're not going to be able to use it. So we might see drivers using line today and maybe going a bit quicker than they really should, but they do have the option of voluntarily stepping down if they don't think they can compete without the racing line. But hopefully we don't see too much of that. Hopefully everyone can give it a good go with no assists whatsoever. And here is Bacon Young just completing his lap.
Yeah, he's flying across the final corner now. It stays where he is in 7th place. And if Beacon is 9th, these two are the RFL Team 2 team in the McLaren. It's not bad for the Team 2 team to be maybe somewhat faster than the Team 1 team. Oh, not quite. Flying Rosie is up there for the other RFL car as well. And that's a very solid showing actually from RFL. 5th, 8th, 9th and 10th. I'll be very happy with that.
That is a very good effort, isn't it? I just realised I've done what you did in the last session and got confused between the Williams and the Mercedes because the colours are so similar, aren't they? So yeah, sorry, it's Rosberg who's Verstappen's teammate. He's yet to put in a competitive time, but I'm sure that he will. Had a few problems joining the lobby. But I'd expect him to go up there, so that should be good then for those guys.
Terrell on the march as well. 4th and 6th at the moment with Shaw and Ash. Surprise is on a lap as well for ILR. Takes so much entry curb through turn 4. It's a joke. Keeps the car out wide. Stuck out wide through turn 4. Turn 5 so low on the brake pedal on his left foot. The Bacon Young goes 3rd quickest. But that's a good effort. That was a really good effort from him. Let's see what Surprise can do then in the Renault, flying through 7 and 8 towards turn 9. How fat will he dare take it? Holds it in 6th gear. Can he keep going? It's Tabs indeed. He can. He's on the limit. Via Verstappen's on another stonking lap in the Williams for VSR, and he's done a 17.3. It's also remnants of the ending of the qualifying session here as we see Surprise. He is really on the limit. Short shifting his way through turn 12. Down the gears once again, he's got a bit of traffic ahead of him in the form of Morso. They've had their on track scraps this season. Look how sideways he is. Going up the second to last corner. Oh no, he's going to be putting this car. Oh my goodness me!
Yeah.
That is
Well,
silly.
we thought Verstappen's time couldn't be beaten on the soft tyres, but it has been. Fantastic effort. He was right on the limit there.
He was on the limit. That was dramatic. He was sideways through most corners. Turn 1, I thought there's not a big effort. Through turn 1 and 2, I was not riding on board him. He was sideways out of turn 2. Through turn 3, got a little bit of oversteer through there as well. Went so wide for entry of turn 4. He's just so good on that left foot. And on the brake pedal, just managing to keep it all intact. And that is the surprise that people have come to know and respect, because we know he's an ILR champion, runner-up in AOR. He's a very, very good driver indeed. With a lot chain man. We'll be happy with that. P1 at the moment.
In the chat, we had last session. I kind of asked for you to say who you were backing, and that's kind of carried on. I see quite a lot of support for TSRL. A few people saying hashtag Team TRSL, and a few supporters for RFL as well. So a few guys backing their drivers. It's good to see. Very thankful for the amount of viewers that we've got, and good to see that you're enjoying it and get behind the teams. And 18 minutes to go in this session, so plenty of time for your drivers to get up there as they try and get into Tier 1.
It's very tight as well between most of these guys. Danny and RT Hamilton have set the exact same time, which is interesting. 1:17.953 is the benchmark for those two to go and beat, but because obviously Hamilton said it before Danny, then goes ahead of the RFL man. Good showing, as we've said, from RFL. Really is a solid showing from the Bacon Young up there in P4. That is the second RFL team, which is slightly, you could say controversial, but interesting is probably the word I've put on that. The second team. That's not to say that there's a tier 2 and a tier 1 between those two teams or anything like that, but it's interesting to differentiate team 1 and team 2.
That was definitely something that I was thinking of when I saw these sign-ups. I kind of thought, I wonder what the tactics are. Are teams going to try and maybe make two teams that are equally strong, try and get both of them into tier 1, and then maybe just compete for the Drivers' Championship, or are they going to throw all their weight behind one team? And I think we've got a good mix. I think we've got some teams that are going, right, let's put all of our eggs with one team, and then we've got other teams that are nicely spreading out their lineups, trying to make two competitive teams. And it's good to see that little difference in strategy between the teams. And ultimately, I don't know what's going to pay off. I think it'll vary from team to team what works for you.
But then you've got the other flip side is, and I hate to disrespect any driver, and I'm not doing so by saying what I'm about to say, but you may have the driver who's not as fast as the guy on the other side of the garage, and naturally that could affect your overall lap time, as opposed to that may affect the tier that you're then put into. So maybe throwing all your eggs in one basket for one team, maybe that is the way to go if you're not so confident in how your team's going. That's the intrigue and suspense I think this league brings when you don't know what the best strategy is. Truth, I don't think any of these guys know what the best strategy is. We still get to see the other ILR team, which will come out later on tonight with Limitless and Joe, and that'll be interesting. 6 all times they'll be posting on the board. But interestingly as well, Rosberg's still down there in 12th for VSR. At the moment, he's done 4 laps on his soft compound of tyres. So he's doing something that we've not seen a lot of really, and that is dialing into the track. No one's really done a lot of laps on one set of tyres. They've just kind of thrown a different set of tyres on every 5 minutes or so. Interesting, that one. Warash goes into P5 ahead of Flying Rosie for RFL. It is impressive. It is impressively close, this tier. RFL and TSR are really scrapping out between those. Between around 5th down to 10th place. Interesting.
Still a lot of love for TSRL in the chat, from what I can see. RFL. bit for War as well, yeah. Plenty of teams there with support, but I think TSRL are coming out on top at the moment there. They've even got their own hashtag, so you can tell that they're got it pretty seriously. Yeah, that's good to see the support, and they're obviously doing pretty good job at the moment. But it's going to be. You just talk for a bit. I'm going to load up the times from the previous session to see how this compares so far. See how much time they're going to find.
Goodness me! More so and surprised at the same time. I want 17.211. The top two are separated by nothing. Nil. Nothing at all. It's just. They are absolutely level. Surprisingly more so. The one 17.22211 level at the top of testing. That is something that we want to be looking out for, but maybe not in testing. Maybe we want that in a qualifying session. I think more so did it on the super soft tyres, but
yeah.
Regardless, it's brilliant. It's brilliant to see that you've got tyres that like they're not close, they're identical, and that's more than close. Between those two, the Baconium's up there in P4. I think maybe getting in the way of his half of Verstappen's lap in the Williams. Or Ash is there. That's right, TSRL boys with Ash.
Baconium's gone a bit off.
Oops, crashed into the pit wall. Interesting line.
Good thing damage is off.
It is indeed. It's going to be close, and they're surprised. Really low in the benchmark. With a 16.6, that is a stonking lap from the RLR man in the Renault. There goes RLT Hamilton. He's into P2 for War and LCR. Ferrari looking like they're starting to stretch their legs with Hamilton, and more so they're second and third at the moment. Good effort from those two, and I'll be impressed with that. But that is an almighty lap from Veloce Surprise, and you'd expect nothing less from an RLR champion. He is really turning on the style for them and URC. This is brilliant. This really is brilliant from Welshman. Let's see what he has in his back pocket as we enter towards the season as well.
That's kind of taken the pressure off Reynolds a little bit. Reynolds hasn't really set a representative time yet. We know that he's a very competitive driver, got some really good results last year for the F1 League in ULC as it was called then. We know that he can go quick, and that's kind of taken the pressure off him now. With Surprise, 2/10 quicker than the quickest time from session 1, and easily clear at the moment at the top of this one. I said I'd look at the times, and I would say that this session so far is a little bit quicker. Obviously not yet, but once people have had all their runs on the Supersofts, I would expect that they'll be beating the times from session 1 as Surprise already has. 17.1, I'm thinking if you can get a 17.1 or a 17.0, that is kind of your benchmark for Tier 1. That is going to be around about it.
Good lap from Shaw for the TSRL, who moves himself into third place. For them, they're now in the top 3. They'll be loving life up there. And we know TSRL, their first season in ULC, they did have a few good, strong shows. They had the podium, of course. We talked about that in the podcast not too long ago. They have had a podium, so maybe they're looking to be that dark horse, maybe almost the racing point of URC in many ways. And that's no disrespect to them, but that's a good effort. Reynolds moves himself into 4th place, though, for ILR, and solidifies their place in Tier 1 with that. Yeah,
they've got that. So that's we know that then the IRL are going to be in. Obviously, War slash LCR from the first session are going to be in with their A team. Can their B team join them? At the moment, that's looking good as well. I'd say that they're looking pretty good. The ERL team from the last session, they're probably up there. So, starting to see now a few teams that could be clearing out spaces in Tier 1. And that kind of puts the pressure on the other guys, doesn't it? Because they kind of see their spots just closing down as it goes down from 10 to, there's probably only 5 to fight for now. So, yeah. Pressure's starting to kick in. 10 minutes left in this session.
I think the pressure's always almost been there. We said before we went on air, or me and James were speaking before we went on air, it's a bit more stressful, obviously, setting up the lobbies and stuff because of the nature of, having more practice sessions and everything of the sort. But really, there's more pressure on the drivers, I think, in this scenario. In a TT time, we said this in the podcast as well, they can have as many laps as they possibly like. They can do it for hours and hours on end to become faster, so you may not get a true, accurate representation of pace. With a practice session like this, they have 30 minutes to set their best lap time. If they can't do it within 30 minutes or they bottle their lap, that's it. And I think that is possibly the best way of doing it, because that really then shows a true, accurate representation of pace. The benchmark is what we're looking at here. As more so, I think it's coming still in the pits. A few guys will have to try and improve on their times. The guys in RFL
is on at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, Verstappen has just started a lap. He obviously put in a fantastic time on soft tyres, which he hasn't yet betted on the super softs. He's going for a lap now. And while you were talking, we just saw War Ash just had a bit of a spin, got onto the grass. But yeah, Verstappen, this could be one to look out for. That cracking time on the softs, straight out the box. So you'd expect him to be up there, getting into the 16s, I'd imagine, on this lap, if he can put it together, as he comes towards the final sector now.
See what we can do then, Verstappen in the Williams to VSR, and at the moment they're being pulled by Verstappen. Rosberg hasn't set a time that's really representative just yet. He's got 9 minutes to do so. Verstappen flying around at the final couple of corners, 14 and 15, trying to take as much go on the inside there. He's got Tim Rosberg ahead of him for a little bit of distance, so as we head through turn 16 and across the line comes VSR Verstappen.
Oh, he's
and
done
goes
it.
P1. Goodness me. That's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Half a tenth between himself and Veloce Surprise, and that will write headlines in URC. That is quite brilliant for VSR Verstappen. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, that is brilliant stuff. And the pressure really is on Rosberg. We said, where's the time from him earlier? We still haven't seen it yet. He's on a lap now. But obviously Verstappen has done his part to get those guys, the VSR Black team, into Tier 1, but Rosberg's just got to back him up now with a decent lap. Pressure starting to build. With only 8 minutes left, it's starting to run out of chances, and he's just coming through now towards the end of the second sector. DRS wide open, braking hard now. Really tricky last sector. This is where a lot of time can be won or lost. Slow speed and a lot of pressure on him. He's got to find a lot of time from his previous lap. We know that he's got it in him, but can he deliver? Comes into the final chicane now, and here we go, just waiting a few more seconds to see whether VSR can secure their spot in Tier 1. Where is he going to go? Oh, only into 10th, but a big improvement time wise. A little bit more time I reckon he's got to find to make it absolutely secure, but that's a 17.5, 16.6 overall. A combined time there for VSR is pretty solid.
It's solid. I think it could be enough just, but I think they're playing with fire if they're going to be risking it like that. Rosberg would know. I think he has got a bit more left in the tank for VSR Black. They'll be looking for a little bit more. I think you're right there, James. I think it's going to be a 17.1. That will kind of be the benchmark for all these guys. Marceau has moved himself into the 16s as well for. That is War and LCR, moves himself into third of the 16.9. Down he goes into P6 for RFL with a 17.1. Good luck then for Danny from the RFL team. Let's see that Rosberg won't be competing this lap, you would assume. We're coming for a new set of those two soft tyres with just over 6 minutes to go.
Yep, so getting into the kind of final runs now. And yeah, this is... The times are slightly better in this session, as I was kind of mentioning earlier. We've got the top 5 at the moment, kind of similar times to what we had already in session 1, but there's a big improvement towards the end of the session. Oh, Reynolds has just popped himself into P3. A very good time there, 16.8. ILR looking very, very strong. That is a strong team there. And remember, Reynolds isn't even their first pick driver. He's actually a reserve filling in today. So doing a very good job there for the league, and they're definitely ones to watch out for. I think we kind of knew that anyway, but they've certainly put their flag in the ground with this performance so far in the test.
Absolutely right. I think they may have done that wisely as well, but a good solid driver in Reynolds up there as well. I think someone's just shot up the leaderboard there. Couldn't quite pick out who it was. It may have been Shaw for Tier Terrell, and they're on the cuff as well. I'm watching Ansteve Beacon. He's going around the final corner for RFL as well. He comes across the line to improve, and he's 1,000th behind Cyril Rosberg. Crazy.
Look, that's less than a second between the top 12, which is very good. Given that we've only got 14 drivers. Unfortunately, the Red Bull's struggling a little bit for pace. Who's that in the Red Bulls? I've forgotten. That's the Livid B team. So, unfortunately, those guys won't be qualifying because, as it's a B team, they need to be. If you're a B team, you have to put in a very, very strong performance. And having said that, Glitch has just gone right up the leaderboard. So yeah, well, maybe you never know. But yeah, as a B team, you've got to put in a really good performance to qualify. A lot of these B team drivers will end up being reserves for the A team when the season goes on. What can Jamo Enrique do? Just waiting for him now to settle out. He's actually, sorry, he has just set one and improved. So we've got everyone now in the 17s, which is a very, very solid effort there. 14 drivers all in the 117s. That's really good to see. Definitely proving that we've got some really strong drivers here in URC this season. Looking forward to it. I think across the two tiers we're going to have some real quality drivers, which is nice to see. Well, unfortunately, I think we've lost James. He's had a bit of a problem. So I'll try and get him back. We've only got 3.5 minutes left in the session. But yeah, just give me a second. I'm going to try and get James back in the commentary box. Right, so hopefully we will have. Unfortunately, he has gone. I have invited him, but hopefully we can get him back. Maybe not for the rest of this session, but hopefully for the final session of the day that will be coming up after this one. We are running ever so slightly late. Not too bad though. It has run pretty smoothly so far, and we're just gearing up now for the final runs of this session. And what a competitive session it has been. We said about that kind of 117, having both drivers around a 117.0. A lot of drivers have done it in this session. So not loads of drivers, only 14, but some really solid drivers in this session. Loads of drivers now on the outlap with 2 minutes and 20 seconds remaining. And not too much pressure on some of the drivers. Lotchi Surprise and EVR Reynolds there for ILR Gold. They know that they are safe. They're just in it for fun now, trying to just set the ultimate lap time. And at the moment, VSR Verstappen is the top of the session as an individual. He's kind of relying on Cyril Rosberg, who found time in his previous run, but he's got to find more, I would say, to secure it. They're going to be kind of on the cusp there with a 16.6 and a 17.5. That kind of averages out around that 17 mark, which is, I think, going to be on the edge from what we've seen. Good point there made by Jess in the comments. That's good. This is their B team, actually, the VSR B team. So a very good effort from them. They've definitely, as a B team, it is quite difficult to qualify, but they'll definitely qualify for something as a B team with those kind of times. But obviously, they want to be in Tier 1 preferably. Rosberg just backing off now because he's on an out lap. Let's try and get someone who's on a lap. As we know that the ILR guys are safe, let's go with someone maybe a little bit further down. Let's go with Danny, see where he can go. He's kind of on that cusp of the times that we're looking for, but he's going to have to rely on his teammate Flying Rosie finding some time as well. Those guys in the Mercedes for RFL, Team 1, and obviously the McLarens then are RFL Team 2. Can any of the RFL guys get into Tier 1? At the moment they're probably in Tier 2 with those kind of times. Danny coming across the line now. He improves. does find a little bit of time. So it's all on Rosie now, but he's not going to improve. So they're not going to be in Tier 1, unfortunately, RFL. Oh, and Bacon Yum has gone off. So second RFL team in a bit of trouble there as well. But Rosberg, let's see how he's doing. I'd say that this is the pretty crucial one. If he can put it on a good time, he's going to put VSR into Tier 1. And remember, this is their B team, as I've just said. This is their B team, so it's not a disaster if they don't get in. We'll be seeing more from them in the final session. But obviously, you want to be in Tier 1 if you can. Rosberg coming into the final sector then. Just got to find as much time as possible. We know that he can do it. Putting some cracking performances in URC in the past. As he comes into the final sector now. The pressure is going to be high. But can he deliver as we go into the final chicane? Looks like a clean run through there. Has he done enough? The clock strikes 0. Rosberg crosses the line and only improves to 12th, but a good couple of tenths there. He's taken it down a couple of tenths to a 17.3. It's a solid effort. Is it going to be enough for those guys? Overall, their combined time looking pretty good there. Under a 2 minutes 34 combined time, which is kind of... that is a good time overall. In the end, the McLarens ended up 8th and 9th. Pretty good effort from them. I think they'll just miss out on Tier 1. But there we go. That is that session done and dusted. What about the Alfa Romeos? Shaw was right up there, top 5, and still going. And so is War Ash as well. Can they do something in the Sauber? And of course is the TRSL White team. What can they do now? Shaw coming across the final line. He's put in a good time, but can he get into the 16s? Yes, he can, a 16.9. But War Ash hasn't improved, so they're going to be on the cusp of those kind of times. They are going to be right on the cusp. But there we go. That is the session. Very good effort there from a lot of drivers. 4 drivers into the 16s, and a lot of drivers close to getting in there as well. Low 17s, a lot of people in that. So a very strong session, that one. And we will see how it plays out. We will see. But a lot of drivers have put themselves into contention. And what we will do is hopefully, once we've been through these times, we'll have a little bit of time to maybe digest it and have a look at how people are shaping up so far. But there we go. VSR Verstappen on the top at the moment for VSR. And then it's the 2 IRL boys just behind that. Shaw, a solid effort in 4th. Then it was Hamilton in 5th. Danny in 6th. 7th was Bacon Yum ahead of the other McLaren. And WR Morzo was disqualified for some reason, so his time has disappeared. Not sure why that is, but he was, I think he was behind his teammate. I think he was in 6th, so that time will be reinstated. The second War LCR team doing a pretty solid job in that session. And then behind the McLarens we had Glitcher, then War Ash, Rosberg, Flying Rosie, and Jamo Enrique. In the Red Bull. Again, competitive times. Everyone has done enough in terms of the 103% rule to qualify. But obviously, if you're on the B team, you're going to have to put in a really solid effort to qualify. So we will see how that plays out. Anyway, that is that for session 2. Again, just a short little break, and as soon as possible, we'll be getting underway with session 3, which is the final session on Xbox. Hopefully, you can join us again in around 10 to 15 minutes' time. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you then. Goodbye.